right here. Whistle ready. Snap good. The hold. The kick is the Mountaineers have just beat the Michigan Wolverines.
One of the greatest upsets in sports history.
That was the sight Saturday afternoon at the Big House in Ann Arbor. Scott Bell is the sports editor at the student newspaper at the University of Michigan, The Daily, and he joins us now. Scott, what was your headline Sunday morning?
The headline was Welcome Week with W-E-A-K. It was the first week of school, and they call that Welcome Week, and we decided to dub the team's performance as a little week. So,
well, the students knew there, a lot of enthusiasm about academics, and it was supposed to be about the football team. Now they're out of the top 25. As you walk around campus, what is the reaction when you talk to people about Michigan football?
It's something that I've never seen. This is my 4th year on campus, and students have never really reacted like this. There's always disappointment after losses, but I think there's more anger with this loss than there's ever been. So after the initial, I think the first reaction was shock, but after the shock wore off, I definitely think it went to anger.
I'm sure your psych professors are happy about that because you're going right in order, but how would you explain that anger? What is it directed at?
Well, the majority of students, as the majority of the fans, I think, are going right for Lloyd Carr. I think he's usually the scapegoat to go for, so I'd say the majority are blaming it on Carr.
And when you're thinking about what went wrong, what specifically draws the ire?
A lot went wrong. I mean, I do think Carr deserves some of the blame. I think the team came out a little flat, but a lot of the stuff was execution. For a 4-year starter, Chad Henne definitely didn't play one of his better games, to put it lightly. There were a lot of blocking miscues, especially on the extra points, or on the 2 field goals at the end. And if you give up 28 points in the first half, you got to put some blame on the defense too. So I think there's plenty of blame to go around.
It would appear by all indications that they just plain and simple overlooked Appalachian State and figured they would win by showing up. As you were covering the team throughout the summer and leading up to the game, what sort of sense did you get in that regard?
And I really think that's the most surprising thing of all, because there's a huge core of seniors that came back to lead. There's Mike Hart, Jake Long, Chad Henne, Sean Crable, and they all talked about how they were prepared, how they were focused, and then when it came to the field, it was like polar opposite. The players won't say they came out flat, but I definitely think there's at least a part inside of them that we're overlooking and looking toward the Oregon, Notre Dame, Penn State part of the schedule. So
that's one thing for the fans and the students to be upset with the coach, but the administration at Michigan over the decades has not done anything rash when it comes to their head coaches, and hadn't had to with Bo Schembechler, certainly. But so how hot, legitimately, when you talk to the administration and the AD, how hot is Lloyd Carr's hot seat?
Lloyd Carr's hot seat is about as hot as like a polar ice cap. Lloyd Carr's job is in no jeopardy whatsoever. There's a lot of rumblings that Carr may retire at the end of the year, and I think there may be some truth to that, but when Carr leaves the program, he's going to leave on his own accord. He will never be fired at Michigan.
Even if he loses to Ohio State?
If Lloyd Carr, there's a better chance that I win the perfect attendance award for class than Lloyd Carr gets fired, and I'm skipping a class to do this interview right now.
Wow.
So.
Well, kids, we don't encourage that at home, certainly, but Scott, of course,
Yeah.
we're glad to talk to you. Apparently, it's in his contract that he can go upstairs, be an associate athletic director if and when he chooses or does get fired. If he leaves by his own volition or someone else's, who would be tops on the wish list for Michigan to bring in?
I think there's a lot of speculation that both the coordinators, Mike DeBoer and Ron English, will get a look. But with the way the team's been going right now, I think there's going to be more and more pressure to bring an outside guy in. So your guess is as good as mine. There's a lot of names that pop up, but I'm sure it'll be kind of like the basketball search, where they have a pretty big nationwide search.
Now, I know throughout the state of Michigan, a lot of people are up in arms because if you weren't at the game and don't have access to a Dish network, Dish TV, you couldn't see the game because it's on the Big Ten network, and basically no cable company is running that in the entire state. How big a scandal is that in Michigan right now among sports fans?
Yeah, it's a big deal. The joke in the press box was, well, Michigan's playing so bad, but at least no one else is seeing it. But they're at Big Ten Media Day at the start of August, we were there, and Delaney and Silverman, the president of the Big Ten Network, they were saying how they were going to try and work a deal with Comcast and all the other major major cable companies, but it never really worked out. So it's who's going to budge first. I think the Big Ten Network executives were pretty happy that there was a game like that, because now they're getting all this publicity, and the people that got to see the game got to see it, and not many other people did. So
Mike Hart was about the only guy who looked like what he was expected to look like. 188 yards, over 6 per carry, and 3 touchdowns. And now you go, not you guys, but the Michigan team goes up against an Oregon team that put up 340 rushing yards itself. What'll be the headline if Mike Hart can't lead his Wolverines to victory again?
I'm not sure how good I'll be at putting one up on the spot, but I can imagine it's not going to be very positive. I expect Saturday to be another big shootout, and if the team's going to win, it's gonna have to be because of the offense, because the defense showed last week that they have trouble with mobile quarterbacks, and that's exactly the mold Dixon fits into. So.
Scott Bell, I know it's a rough time for sports fans in Ann Arbor, the sports editor at the Michigan Daily. We appreciate you joining us, and if you need a note about missing class, you talk to my boss. He'll hook you up.
Okay, thanks a lot. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
Got to get that in. There you go. Nice college boy. All right.